Well, hey everybody, we're just out being vagabonds, right?
Yeah.
Instead of in the trailer, we're back at our home base in northern Utah, and we decided to take a ride over here into Wyoming, and we are at the Fort Bridger historical site. I think it's a state historical site, not a national historic site, but another interesting thing is that it's part of the original Lincoln Highway, and you can see the sign behind me there. We're gonna do a little walk around. Welcome to the Fort Bridger State Historical Site, the Milk House, and the schoolhouse, right together. Hey, the Milk House and the schoolhouse are right there together. What does that tell you?
Maybe the schoolhouse kids had to milk the cows.
Maybe. Or maybe the lactating moms had to come down here and feed the kids in the school.
Oh my gosh.
So we're walking down here, and there's a little dog dish on the faucet there. So apparently it's dog friendly here. Gotta love that. And we don't have Jazz with us right now. Jazz is home. She's guarding the trailer, right?
Yeah.
So this is rather interesting. This was the brainchild of the commanding officer here at the fort. And what was his name?
You read it.
Captain Anson Mills.
Why do I have this?
So Captain Anson Mills came up with this punishment horse because here at Fort Bridger he was having problems with men committing some petty crimes, and those
Get out of doing their chores.
yeah, so the men would get sentenced to 24 hours in the brig, which would give them the rest and the ability not to have to do their chores. So instead of just throwing them in the brig, he came up with this punishment horse, and he would require the men to sit on the horse for hours at a time, holding the big sword up in the air as a form of punishment.
An embarrassment.
So, Angie, you've been naughty.
No,
I think it's time for you to hop on the punishment horse.
I've not been naughty.
Okay, here, I'll get on the punishment horse.
It's heavy, huh?
It is heavy. Can you imagine having to sit here? I've been naughty for hours. Oh, look, it's the detention cell. Of course, we already learned that the beds are slanted to ensure that the guards would not fall asleep while on guard duty. So they could be in bed, but they couldn't fall asleep.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
Yeah,
I mean, when we're sleeping or reclining.
So this is Josh, and we're here at Fort Bridger, and I mean, hey, I was born in Utah, and he just told me something I didn't know, so I think it's really interesting. Josh?
So originally this was part of the Utah territory before it was later worked out in Washington, D.C. that this would become part of the state of Wyoming. So actually, if we kind of step over this way to our timeline here, we've got 5 periods of occupation. So of course in 1843, when Jim Bridger and his partner Louis Vasquez established the fort, it was technically Mexican territory at that point. After the Spanish-American War, the Mormon migration happened, and this was actually originally established as part of the Utah territory, making it a nice shapely rectangle. Of course, after the Utah War, when Johnson's army came out, Judge Carter, pictured here, was one who got his thumbs into about every pie he could. He made an immense fortune out here and then got into politics. Later had a lot of sway in Washington, D.C. is a big part of the reason that Utah has the notch in it, and that this is now a nice rectangle Wyoming, and Utah kind of got left with the short end of the stick and lost that territory.
So Josh was telling us that there's a school building here that is in dispute whether it's...
Yes. So the dispute is, and of course, give a shout out to Fort Laramie, who they have the other disputed schoolhouse. Ours is the older building, but when it was established as a schoolhouse, it was technically in the Utah territory. whereas Fort Laramie's, theirs was a little later, and they are pretty close, so there is some debate even there. But because theirs was truly in the territory of Wyoming, they claim that theirs is the first. So I guess you can decide, whether ours is the older one, even though it was the Utah territory at the time, or the one that was in the true Wyoming territory is the dispute there.
Gotta love a little rivalry, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, thanks, Josh. So these log buildings and corrals are a reconstruction of the trading post operated by mountain men Jim Bridger and Louis Vasquez in 1846. The post was originally built in 1843 when the fur trade was rapidly dying due to the change in eastern fashions. The establishment of this trading post, known as Fort Bridger, marked the end of the era of free roaming trappers and the beginning of the westward movement of civilization. Thousands of immigrants stopped here for supplies, smith work, or fresh animals on their way west. Here, when you pull into the Fort Bridger historical site area, of course, is this series of cabins that were originally built in the 1920s as part of the Lincoln Highway. And we're going to walk in there and look at that as well. So in 1913, the Lincoln Highway enabled American motorists to drive coast to coast from New York City to San Francisco. After a long, hard, dusty road on your Model A or your Model T, you just pull on in, have a place to actually lay down instead of sleeping on that hard ground.
Well, one of them has a telephone. They all have tables and benches and little heaters.
I don't know how well my camera's going to show this. There we go. Little example of
There's 3 of them. There's
what that $1 a day gotcha. Of course, after you've rented this luxurious suite for the night, there is no running water inside these cabins.
no.
You'd have to traipse over here to the outhouse. Betty, well, I really enjoyed this little stop at the Fort Bridger State Historical Site.
It was fun, and there was the cabins here too, so there was plenty to see.
I appreciate Josh give us a little bit of that history, which again I found really entertaining, and
Yeah.
I did not know.
Yeah.
So thanks, Josh, for giving us a little bit of video and some information, a little in-depth information on this historical site. The cost for Angie and I to visit here was $16.
Yeah.
Of course, we got a patch and a pin for the quilt and the wall hanging, but
They have, we have a trailer right behind us. If you want to turn.
yeah, we're going to shuffle around, Angie. Look, trailer.
So there's trailer parking, and it was a good little walk, especially if you can take your dogs. So plenty of places to walk around. So if you're going to need a spot to stop, this would be great.
Yeah, it's not too far off Interstate 80. We're probably 20 miles or so east of Evanston.
And they have restrooms and picnic tables, and all the water spigots had dog bowls on them.
Yeah, fun little stop.
Yeah.
And if you like the video, please give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe and follow Angie, Jazz, and I on our journey. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you down the road. I think we need
Interesting.
one of these in the trailer.